Hey everyone. So you're looking for a dog trainer here in Greeley, Colorado, and you want to get it right. Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break down everything you need to know to find a great fit for you and your dog.
Just think about why we love having dogs here in the first place. It's those perfect days, right? A walk on the Poudre River Trail, maybe grabbing a coffee on 9th Street with your pup at your feet, or just letting them run around at Bittersweet Park. Those are the moments.
But how do you make sure your dog is a great companion for all of that, so that those moments stay fun and aren't stressful? Well, that's where good training comes in, and that's what we're going to get into today.
We've got 5 simple parts to walk through. First, we'll talk about what training looks like specifically for a Greeley dog. Then we'll cover the different training methods, how to check out a trainer's credentials, the local rules you got to know, and finally, the exact questions to ask before you hire anyone.
So let's start with a Greeley dog's life. This is really important, because good training isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing. It has to work for the real world your dog lives in every single day.
And what does that mean here? Well, it means teaching your dog to calmly pass joggers on that sometimes narrow Poudre River Trail. It means teaching them to ignore all those tempting prairie dogs when you're out on a hike. Or how about just settling down quietly on a patio downtown? All of these are real-life skills for living in our town.
Okay, so now that we know why we need to train for Greeley-specific situations, let's get into the how. Let's talk about the actual training methods and the different ways you can get it done.
The method that you're going to hear about the most, and for good reason, is positive reinforcement. It's pretty simple, actually. You reward the behavior you want to see more of. This whole approach is about building trust and a great bond with your dog, not using fear or intimidation.
Now, you've basically got 2 main formats to choose from. Group classes are awesome for socialization and for practicing commands with other dogs and people around, real-world distractions. They're also usually the more affordable option. But if you've got a really specific issue, like say your dog bolts out the front door, private sessions give you that one-on-one focus to really tackle it.
And of course, there are other options out there. Things like board and train programs can be great. They offer really intensive training if you have very specific goals, or maybe a super busy schedule.
Okay, this brings us to a really practical part of the process, how to actually vet a trainer. We're going to focus on 2 things here, the cost and their credentials.
Let's just talk numbers for a second. This table gives you a pretty good idea of the average costs you can expect here in the Greeley and Weld County area. A 6-week group class, for example, is going to be somewhere in that $150 to $275 range. A single private lesson? Probably about $85 to $140. This just helps you set a realistic budget from the start.
Now, beyond the cost, you want to see some proof of their expertise. I know, these letters look like a bowl of alphabet soup, but they're so important. A certification like CPDT-KA means that a trainer has actually passed some tough exams and they're committed to keeping their skills up to date. And that last one, the IABC-CDBC, that's for trainers who handle more complex stuff, like serious anxiety or aggression.
All right, let's switch gears and cover something every single dog owner in Greeley needs to know by heart: our local rules. Because being a great dog owner also means being a great neighbor.
Okay, here's the number to remember. 6. 6 feet. When you're off your own property, your dog's leash can't be any longer than 6 feet. That goes for sidewalks, parks, trails, everywhere.
And here is the other critical number, 1. There is 1 vaccine that's required by law in Weld County and across Colorado, and that's the rabies vaccine. And that little tag proving they have it, it needs to be on your dog's collar all the time.
Just a couple of other quick things to know. Any professional trainer working in the city should have a City of Greeley business license, so feel free to ask. And this is a big one. There are no breed-specific laws here in Weld County. All the rules are based on a dog's behavior, not its breed. And hey, you can use our fantastic local spots as your personal training grounds. The Funplex Dog Park, it's perfect for practicing that off-leash recall in a safe spot. The Poudre River Trail is your go-to for honing those leash skills. And the wide-open fields at Bittersweet Park are just ideal for working on commands from a distance.
All right, we're on to our last section. You've done the research, you've narrowed down your list, and now it's time to actually talk to some trainers. Let's make sure you're armed with the right questions so you can make a choice you feel really good about.
First thing you should ask is about their training philosophy. You're listening for them to talk about positive reinforcement. How do they use rewards like treats or praise to encourage good behavior? This will tell you almost everything you need to know about their whole approach. Next, don't be shy. Ask about their credentials and how they make their training relevant to our town. You can ask if they hold any of the certifications we talked about. And then, ask them how they'd help you with those Greeley-specific things, like keeping your dog focused around all the activity at the UNC campus.
And finally, ask about the process itself. How are you both going to track your dog's progress, and what kind of homework will you need to do between lessons? Because remember, a lot of the real magic happens with the practice you put in during the week.
At the end of the day, all this effort to find the right person is absolutely worth it. A well-trained dog honestly just makes life easier and more fun, whether you're having people over to your house or just enjoying a beautiful, relaxing day out at the Greeley Funplex. Happy training!